So this Shabbat we read the third parashah of the book of Dvarim, the book of Deuteronomy. And Moshe reminds the Israelites of the incident of the golden calf. Interesting, if you read the original narrative of the golden calf, the Israelites come to Aaron and ask him to make this calf for them because Moses is late in coming down the mountain. And stalling for time, Aaron says, well, go collect all the gold jewelry that you can find. And the Torah says that the men took the jewelry from the women and the children and even themselves, and eventually brought them to Aaron. The rabbis deduce from this that the women refused to give their gold for the calf. A few chapters later in the book of Exodus, we're told that the Israelites had to give donations of precious metals and other materials to building the Mishkan, the tabernacle. And the Torah says men and women gave of their possessions. So when it was to perform a mitzvah, the women were eager to give. But when it was to perform a sin, the women were not prepared to give. The Torah says that the women's mirrors, brass mirrors, were used to make the laver, the basin in which the Kohanim washed their hands before attending at the altar. And in merit of their coming forward, the rabbis say that God decreed that every Rosh Chodesh, every first of the month, shall be a day for women. In that light, it gives me great pleasure to invite Helen to give us a talk this evening. Helen founded Ikamva Labuntu in 1992 together with people of the community to help uplift the vulnerable in society. So like the Israelite women of ancient times, Helen came forward and stood up for the less fortunate, for those who had rights of their own, rights who were being neglected. Helen is now still the board member, president of this, honorary president of this organization in Kambo Labantu, and she has received 2 awards: the Roger E. Joseph Prize for everlasting contributions to human rights and Jewish survival, and also the National Order of the Legion of Honor from France. So welcome, Helen.
Good evening, everyone. I'd just like to say I'm a little older than the 94. I would like to take you back to how I started getting involved in community work and when I qualified in 1960 as a medical speech pathologist, was working at Krutzke Hospital, which at that point was very segregated. There was a black section and a white section, and I was given the honor of the black section, and then was classed as being of color. So I wasn't allowed to go to the white section because I may have touched somebody of color. It was, I took it on not understanding. I was so naive. I took it on thinking that, I can do anything. I can change the system. It didn't work out that way after arrests and all sorts of ugly things happening. I was able to be harbored and held and loved by the communities that I had to work with. And so it has remained to this day. So it's 64 years that I have spent most of my life in the townships, starting in Cape Town, then going throughout South Africa, being welcomed, being taught, being able to see the wonder of humanity, the beauty within the soul of each and every person that I was allowed to be with And so Ikamba was formed by the community around me, which were at that point in 1992, when I'd been on my own working and had very few people who accompanied me during those first initial years, because being a named person, whoever came in touch with me might have been in trouble or might have been also noticed. So it was a rough time, but I was unaware of it. You know, I just got up in the morning and got to where I needed to. I taught some places in Cape Town, but also spent my time in the townships. I gave up any form of therapeutic work because the need was different. The need was to create facilities where people could survive, where people could earn livings, where people could become literate, where children could find places of safety and places of joy. I sat here tonight and it brought me back the beauty of this service tonight. I must admit that Michael and I belong to the Orthodox shul, and I go along with it. I'm very proud to be a Jew and very proud that I live, what I do every day is to me the expression of who I am as a Jewish woman. But coming here tonight and hearing the beauty of this service, you've lifted me to another level, to the level I achieved by being with the most beautiful people that led me to this point. And so my message, which is, I was told 4 minutes, so it'll be 4 minutes. My message tonight is, I walk in the streets, I sit amongst you, and I judge. You judge people. You judge them by their looks. You judge them by what they're wearing. You judge them by their height, their size, their non-size. And in each and every one of us, we don't really judge by the soul and the beauty within that person. And that's what life has taught me, that often I'm criticized because I will stop in the street when I see somebody in the street, and I will share with them any finance that I may have, and I will feed whoever I can who's hungry, because their pain is my pain, their joy is my joy. And may I ask you to join me in my joy and in my pain. And thank you for the most beautiful service this evening. Shabbat Shalom.
Helen is a true Eshet Chal. She really underplayed what she does in the community each and every day, with Michael quietly behind her and beside her, following her wherever she goes. They've formed a magnificent partnership, and everybody that she touches comes away feeling more special than they did before they knew her. Added to the awards that Helen has had, that Rabbi mentioned, I'd also like to mention that she is a Melvin Jones Fellow, which is the highest award that can be awarded in the Lions organization. So we salute you, Helen. Thank you for being with us, and we hope that it's not the last service that you come to. And thank you, both of you, for being here.
I think they actually did say 5 to 6 minutes, but anyway. So we continue on page 586. 586 with the Iranian. I'll call on David to come and open the ark. Please stand.